I remember we went to go see School Days. What was that, 87? We went to go see School Days, and that was with the actress Kim, and they had the love scene, and me, you, and Alejandro talking about, no, don't sleep with her, no, oh my God, ah. We thought she was the ugliest thing in the world. It was all the bad stuff you can think about. Calling somebody African booty scratcher, calling somebody black this, black that. There was nothing positive about Africa. So you didn't think much about it. You knew you were descendant from people in Africa, but that was nothing to be proud of. It just was. I just knew I wanted to get out of Denver, so I just wanted to go to college. And I liked that whole Spike Lee, the whole School Days, all that was just, it was infectious back then. Everybody wanted to do that. So it was like, oh, that's cool. So everybody wanted to go to college, and I was like, I want to go to college. I want to go to black college. I want to go to Morehouse. Because I had no good study habits, and I got to Morehouse, and it was a whole nother ball game. I couldn't skate anymore. I was forced to to buckle down, study, and actually work for my grades. I just either did enough to get by or just did enough to get an A. Freshman year, this is English literature, basic math. What else? Music. Introduction to history. It was actually introduction to world history, and it was world history, but I thought it was just going to be, you know, the world, Europe, you know, Rome and whatnot.
And who was your professor in that class?
That was Dr. It wasn't Dr. Jackson. It was Dr. Davis. Dr. Davis was a Vietnam veteran, and he would go running before every class, and he would come in class sometimes in his track outfit and say, all right, brothers, where did we stop? And he opened my eyes to all kinds of stuff when it came to African history and black folk and all. It blew my mind. It had an incredible effect on me. It's like somebody slapped me and woke me up, like, did you realize that you were this, that you were that? I had no idea that we did those things. I had no clue that that's what we did. So, and once I learned that, I just wanted more. I wanted to know more. I said, okay, so we did this. Okay, what else you got? And so, as we went on, as we started learning more, I started looking for things in addition to stuff I was learning in class. I would start going to lectures, and around that time, we had all kinds of people coming to lecture us. We had brothers from the nation coming, giving lectures over at Woody, Club Woody, over at Woodward. We would invite people to come speak. We did all kinds of stuff, and so I was at dang near everything. I was at all the rallies, almost felt like I was at most of the lectures. And then what I didn't see there, if I found anything about a book, I would go look it up. I would make copies on the copier and read the stuff in addition to what I was learning in class. Oh, the destruction of African civilization, introduction to African civilization, some articles like Even the Rat Was White, Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro, books like that. You just started getting this thirst for knowledge. It was like discovering all kinds of stuff. It was a lot of fun just looking up stuff. I'm like, wow, I had no idea we did this. Ivan Van Sertima's Blacks in Science. All those books I just could not. Everybody would talk about them. Have you heard about this? And the first thing you want to do is go, okay, I never heard about that. And you want to go get it. As soon as you find out about it, you want to go get it. So I would just go and find stuff and just read it and read it and read it. And then there were some brothers who knew more than we did.
Like, who were some of the people that you felt like knew, as you said, more than you?
Not the brothers, but Obie Holly and Christian Gordy from DC. Obi, his family was deep in African society. I mean, he went to Watoto in D.C. and it was a school founded on African principles, and he was ashamed back in the day because kids would tease him and go, "Obi, what school you go to?" They just wanted to hear him say it, and he put his head down and go, "Watoto," and they'd all laugh at him. But he learned a lot of things that we kind of took for granted. I mean, he learned about it takes a nation, you know, it takes a village to raise a child, and all that stuff. He lived it. You know, most of the kids he went to school with had African names. It wasn't unusual for him to learn about African history. It wasn't unusual for him right after Christmas to start celebrating Kwanzaa. All that stuff he did on a regular basis. So by the time he got to Clark, he was already well grounded. It was no big deal for him to be in college. He didn't find it an exception that he was in college. I was the one who what am I doing here? But he expected to go to college. That's what he's supposed to do. So it wasn't a trip to him. And, you know, he became like a magnet for a lot of people. A lot of people wanted to speak to Obi because he was knowledgeable and he was humble, you know, yet strong. And he just had an open mind about a lot of things. I think the death of consciousness and the trending, the idea that it was all a trend, I think that was started by popular culture, because at one time all the music you heard on the radio, not all, but a lot of it was conscious. It wasn't just Public Enemy, it was X-Clan, it was Poor Righteous Teachers. There were all kinds of people who were definitely into raising the consciousness of us as a people, especially the youth. And I don't think society liked that, and so it was no coincidence that I know a lot of people like NWA, but it was no coincidence that they got more airplay, and eventually the majority of airplay over a lot of those other conscious groups and over conscious music, groups like Soul to Soul. There was no coincidence to me that became more popular. And that's not a knock necessarily against NWA. My whole point is, you need to give me a choice. If I go to the grocery store and all I see is the same kind of juice on the shelf, then all I'm going to do is buy that, because that's all I know. But if you take me to a store and I can choose this, and I've never tried that before, let me try that and see what it is. But they took choice away from us. They took a lot of that out of the music. I think they took it out of the books, out of the media. A lot of the popular books, a lot of books written by Jawaza Kunjufu, I stopped seeing. I didn't see a whole lot of new books being released, and so I don't know. I think the larger society was like, okay, enough of this Afrocentricity stuff. It's getting kind of old. Y'all need to do something about that. It's just all these people walking around, fight the power. I think the zenith was in '89. I don't know. I don't see '89. Maybe around 90, 91. At least that's what it felt like. And everything was consciousness. Everybody was, even if you weren't knowledgeable of all kinds of stuff, it wasn't always about who's blacker than the other. It was a part of who you were. And just being a black person meant you had to know something about your history, something about who you were. I think that's what, I think a lot of that went away, because a lot of us got caught up, once we finished school and whatever, we got caught up in life, and we started paying bills and starting families and getting jobs and going for our advanced degrees and stuff. That was our fault. We didn't reach back like we said we were going to do. We were supposed to, but we didn't. So I can't necessarily fault the youth. It's the youth's fault. They don't know, but they only know what they've been exposed to. And if you don't expose them to other things, that's all they're going to know. That's all they're going to live with. Okay, so let's be realistic. So the question is, so what you gonna do? And what I want to do, what I see that would help us as a people is, we need to get back to rites of passage. We need to get back to teaching our children the best ideas of what it means to be a man or woman. We need to give them healthy alternatives to being an athlete. They need to understand that being a good student is the best thing for them. They have a better chance of being a doctor than they do being a basketball player. Better than you have less of a chance to be a Dwight Howard, and you have a better chance of being a doctor. We also have to make it systematic. We need to have it in every city. Every community needs to have something after school where we go and we learn about ourselves, where our culture is reinforced, where our love of self is reinforced, where we are shown what our responsibilities will be when we become adults. So that when you become an adult, there's no guesswork. You know what there is to do. And that, in turn, breeds more responsibility amongst us, and we start doing better jobs of taking care of ourselves, taking care of our communities.
Thank you. And your name is?
My name is Reginald Mckie, Adebayo KMT.